Kaden. My name is Camry. I am the manager of the sales department at Frito-Lay. I am just going to start off by asking you a few questions. I just want to get to know you a little bit, and then I'll ask you some qualifying questions to see if you're a good candidate for our sales position here. I will be taking notes as we go, so just a heads up. So let's just start off with you telling me a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so currently I am actually a college student at Utah Valley University. I am pursuing a degree in business accounting, and my previous experience that I kind of have relating to this job is I worked at Sprint as a sales representative, and then I really like to do anything outdoors or go hiking, things like that.
Awesome, cool. Can you tell me about a time that you showed initiative and what prompted you to get started and what the results were?
Yeah, so there was a few times that I had where my manager was just on leave or they just decided not to show up, and so I really just tried to step up to the plate and take over that role in just trying to make sure that everything got done that needed to get done and everything went as smoothly as possible.
Okay. What was the most useful criticism you ever received from an immediate supervisor, and how did you embrace the feedback and achieve a positive outcome?
Yeah, so I think one of the main criticism that I had was I had a manager who didn't really see eye to eye with me on everything, and he thought that I needed to change my sales tactics. And so the way I went about that was that I just tried to follow more of what he liked, but then combine that with how I like to sell, and yeah.
Awesome. What do you feel you have to offer above the average employee when it comes to accomplishing your daily responsibilities and goals? And can you give a specific example?
Yeah, so I'm a really hard worker. I like to work at a fast pace, but make sure that I get done effectively and in a timely manner. And so one thing that I have relating to that is that I'm actually a merchandiser for Frito-Lay right now, and we are kind of on a time crunch getting into stores, getting out of stores, and so I just work as fast as I can, but also as hard as I can to make sure the stores get serviced and there's no complaints and everything's good.
Okay. Can you describe a time where you elevated the level of value you brought to a customer over time and how you accomplished it?
Yeah, so I think I've had a few different customers in Frito-Lay that they don't always feel satisfied with who is servicing their account, and they're not always getting the best quality, and so I just try to get in there and give them the best quality that I can and try to make up for if there's been any problems in the past.
Okay. Can you recall a time where you were less than pleased with your performance and what you did about it?
Yeah, so I also had another time that I actually forgot to do a couple things that were necessary at one of the stores, and so the way I went about it was I went back to that store, I talked with the manager, apologized, and just got everything set back to how it was supposed to be, and just made sure everything was communicated clearly.
Okay. Describe your level of competitiveness. Tell me about a specific situation where your competitiveness helped you achieve better results than your peers.
Yeah, so growing up I was always in sports, and so I'm pretty competitive. But one experience that I have with this is when I was working at Sprint, I actually had a sales quota that we had to meet, and the two managers were actually working together on one sales quota, and so I just pushed myself to sell as much as I could, and I actually passed what they sold as a combined team.
Okay, cool. That's awesome. Think of an example when one of your customers was not pleased with something you or your team did. What was the situation and how did you recover from that?
Yeah, so at Sprint, we had several times where customers came in and they said that they were lied to about different products not doing what it says. And so I had a time where a customer came in and they were just talking to us about how they thought that the camera on their phone did all sorts of different things, but then it really didn't. And so we kind of just found out what the problem was, and they were actually looking at a few different phones, and they got one that didn't have those exact features that they thought it had because they wanted more of the downgraded, the lower price item.
Okay, cool. Give an example of a time when you successfully persuaded your peers to change their minds and follow your recommendations. What was the specific situation and the results?
Yeah, so I had a time at Frito-Lay. I'm actually a trainer in the merchandising department, and there's been a lot of trainees who they come in and they want to side rotate, which is basically putting everything, the older dates to the right side or to the left side, and then putting the new dates on the other side. But that's not the best way to do it. The best way to do it is front to back, so that you always keep the older dates in the front so it sells faster and you never run out and have bad product.
Okay, cool. Share a time when you were able to directly attribute your probing skills to solve a problem with a difficult customer.
Yeah, so I had a time I didn't see eye to eye with my manager, and so we kind of had some conflicts, and we wanted to try to give the customer the best service that they could have. And so we kind of went and we just talked about everything, and then we went back to the customer, asked a bunch of questions, trying to figure out what actually happened in the situation and how we could fix that for them and give them a better experience in the future.
Okay. Tell me about a time when you identified a new, unusual, or different approach for addressing a problem or a task. How did you come to the solution, and what was the outcome?
Yeah, so not all the time everybody likes to do everything the same, and so we, in Frito-Lay, I have talked to a few different people on their different tactics and how we can always work together to have the same job at the end, but also that we can make sure that that job gets done correctly in whatever way works best for us. And yeah.
Okay, cool. Why do you feel like you should be considered for this position?
I feel like I should be considered for this position because I'm a hard worker. I do have sales experience in meeting quotas, things like that, and I really love to try to upsell and make the customer feel like they want more.
Okay. Cool. Do you have any questions for me?
Yeah, one question I have is there a lot of room for growth in this company in moving up?
In our department for sales, there's different tiers, and so we've kind of grouped our sales people into different tiers based on their selling abilities. So you can definitely move up within our specific organization, and then also there are other departments within the company that you can move up to.
Okay, that makes sense. And then lastly, is there any concerns that you have about me as a candidate for this position?
No, I think everything looks good. So, thank you so much for your time. We will get back to you soon about the position.
Thank you.